What's up, everybody? Rise and shine. I just want to say I'm really excited because I got my hair back.
You're back.
Let's go.
He has been complaining so much about his hair like being black. I'm like, you're not meant to be black hair. You're meant for more. You're meant for greatness.
Hey.
You're meant for greatness. Hi guys, so today we have an important and an awesome topic because this is a topic that I get a lot of questions about just with my personal life and also just in general. People always ask us about like relationship advice, marriage advice, and just like dating advices. We wanted to create this video so that everybody else can know what we're thinking and what our opinions are. A little bit of coffee.
All right, get on my level, sweetie. By the way, I never used to drink coffee.
Did you put chocolate on it?
A little bit of chocolate Hershey's.
God. He literally put like a bar of Hershey chocolate.
I don't even feel it. Never drank coffee before, but when this quarantine started, I just started drinking coffee, and I just gotta say in one word, if I can describe it, amazing. And I see everything like...
You can see everything in slow motion.
I'm like, well, the birds chirping outside. I'm like, there's a squirrel. He's like...
Today's topic is how to know if you are in an unhealthy relationship. Actually, we were thinking if you are in a toxic relationship.
It's a strong word.
Yeah, it's a strong word. So I feel like people will relate more if we said unhealthy, because sometimes people think some situations are healthy when in reality it might be unhealthy, and it's hard to pinpoint sometimes if it is unhealthy. Yeah. So
these are just opinions of ours and based off our experiences and stuff. We're not trying to bring light to anybody's personal relationships. This is just something that we've experienced and we wanted to talk about a little bit because it's part of our journey in our lives.
I wanted to bring up something that came across a lot and also we've seen a lot. So we'd love for you guys to keep an open mind as you're watching this video. And just to remind you again, we're not therapists, we're not counselors, we're not marriage counselors or any type of sort.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna give you 5 top things that we consider red flags. So the first red flag that we thought of was control over your decisions. If someone is having a little bit too much control over your decisions.
Give me some examples of like somebody who's controlling.
The way that I see controlling is somebody who is in somehow forcing you to live a way that you're not really accustomed to. In a way they want to shape you into the person that they want as their partner and not who you are. Because the big part of relationship is being who you are and accepting each other.
Like being true to yourself, right? I think like somebody who is maybe helping you change bad habits. For instance, somebody who smokes a lot, for instance, right? Like that person's like, I don't want you to smoke anymore because it's not good for your health. That person is thinking about like the well-being. I don't think that's considered control when it is for the well-being of that person. Controlling is somebody who's like, you're already an established person, or you're somebody that already know like your identity, like you know yourself and you have like a certain way of how you live your life, and they come into your life to try to change it around so that it could benefit them, or they want to change you, they want to control you to change you to be the person that they want to be.
I like that.
Because I feel like now you're changing yourself and people around you can see that you're changing yourself. That's just so then the person that you're with can accept you.
That's very
And I think that's unhealthy once you start to be like, okay, I'm just gonna change this so that they can love me more. I'm gonna change to the person they want me to be because I want them to love me.
Someone who changes your lifestyle. Like for instance, I'll put myself in an example. Like I'm very colorful. I like to color my hair. I like to
You're very
wear
bright.
And if somebody's like, hey, you know, like, hey, I love you, but only black hair from now on.
You know what? I don't like you coloring your hair like that. I don't like you dressing up like that. It forces you to want to change just so then I will like you better.
Exactly.
I don't,
That's the one. That's the one.
For me, coming from a woman's perspective, like you guys know, I'm a makeup artist. A lot of girls love putting on makeup just to enhance their beauty and to cover up things and imperfections that they don't like to show in public. And a guy says like, oh, I don't like you putting on makeup. It's kind of like, it makes me feel good inside. It's what I do. You know, it's part of my identity. It's part of my purpose in life, is making myself feel good. It's part of self-care as well, you know? So for him to tell me like, oh, I don't want you putting on makeup anymore, it's kind of like...
The difference between, hey, you know, like, I love how you look naturally. You're complimenting. Right. There's a difference between that and being like, I don't want you wearing makeup. I don't like makeup on the woman that I date.
Right. Now you're kind of like, number one, you're trying to change them, right? You're trying to control their lifestyle and who they are as a person. That becomes unhealthy in the relationship. Yeah. Then you're just hurting each other verbally.
That's why like she always says like, I don't want you to be so buff. And I'm like, wow, this is my lifestyle. This is who I am. You know what I mean?
Number 2, lack of respect. Sips his coffee with chocolate. Some of the words that's synonym to disrespect is disregard, contempt, scorn.
I love corn.
rude, impolite, bad-mannered, ungracious.
Basically, half of the people on 90 Day Fiancé. Lack of respect is a big one because I feel like in relationships sometimes it's human that we're gonna sometimes say things that we don't mean if we're just trying to make each other upset, or you know, we're in an argument. For an example, just not showing that person the respect they deserve emotionally, physically. That respect should be mutual respect between the both of you.
Yeah, and I feel like for men, that's really a big deal because men love to feel like they're respected. That's how they feel loved the most. Us women, like if a man disrespects us, it's mainly with words. Especially when you disrespect her like in front of like people, like people,
that's a big one.
Like her loved ones.
In front of people.
Disrespect could be like name calling, or like it could even be
like
actions.
You buck-toothed beaver. I'm like,
you said something that's like rude to her, it's like that thing like,
and then she won't say it there, but she'll give you the look like.
My love language is words of affirmation. So if your love language is words of affirmation, oh my gosh, words stay, they linger.
Like she'll be like, yeah, I'll be like, nah, that's not true, and then she'll look at me like,
I'm like
I'm like, oh my god.
It's also a friendship, and like the way you are with your friends and the respect you have for your friends, it should be the same type of respect that you have in your relationship, and even more.
The words is a big one because words can really tear down a person, especially for some people who are more sensitive, you know, men or women. Words can really tear them down. I am a sensitive man. I'm a very sensitive man.
When you don't talk about your partner disrespecting you and you don't communicate it, it becomes a resentment, and you fill up all these grudges in your heart, and later on it's just gonna blow up. Make sure that, not in public, but when you do get the chance to be with your partner, you let them know like, hey, you disrespected me, you know, and I didn't like the words that you said. These words hurt me. Some people, like, they're disrespectful and they don't know that they're being disrespectful until they are called.
So that way for future instances, I know like, oh, maybe for you it's not a big deal, but for her she sees it as a big disrespect, you know. So you got to be able to change that and work on those things.
Also, you know, something that I'm working on is like not getting heated, because the moment I'm the kind of person that get fired up. The moment I'm pissed, it's a wrap. Sometimes I say the most disrespectful things and I know I shouldn't. Words are scars and they stay and they linger, especially if your partner is sensitive like Eli. So the third thing that we thought of that I feel like plays an important part, especially if you're taking that relationship to a whole nother level of commitment, is not having the same moral values, beliefs, and perspective. I put moral values, perspective, and beliefs all together in one because I feel like they're kind of like in the same ball. Like
what you call me?
Perspectives, for instance, like it could be religion, it could be the way you see life. Like for instance, you're somebody that want to have kids and your partner don't want to have kids in the long term. Your partner doesn't think the same thing and doesn't see eye to eye in the direction that you want your future to be. That could definitely affect, and that could be a red flag in your relationship, because if you continue to be in a relationship where you're always sacrificing your moral value, like your ethic, there is no compromise, and you continuously always have to feel like you're sacrificing like your moral values, your beliefs, it could be religion, it could be anything at all. That's definitely, I feel like, is going to build a lot of resentment in your life. If you don't fix it now, if you don't talk about it now and try to find common ground, compromise, or like, you know, meet in the middle about those topics and situations, don't think that it's gonna get better, because it's gonna get worse in your marriage or in your relationship.
It's gonna give you a problem way later on anyway, because neither of you are gonna change your mind if you already stated your opinion. So it's a red flag to know and continue on with that relationship. You have to be able to be on the same page and make sure you guys have those same morals and decisions, because those are the big ones for later on in the future.
For example, I know this is really big for millennials, is moving in together. A lot of millennials, they want to just move in together. A lot of men are like, okay, let's try this out and see how it'll work out. Men and women. Some men or women, they don't feel comfortable about that. Like their moral value is, I want to wait till I get married. Like I want to make sure that I'm married first, and I want to make sure I have a different type of commitment until I move in with you. Definitely have to talk about from the get-go, or even if you don't talk about it immediately, it's something that needs to be brought up. If one person doesn't agree with it and you guys don't find a common ground about it, it's definitely going to become a real big problem.
You're not always going to see things the same, but it's about finding a balance of being able to meet halfway in certain situations.
And then another example is religion. This comes up all the time. Most of the time when people get married, they don't talk about like the religion that they want to have once they have kids. It becomes such a big problem and a big issue, later on it comes up, you know, in their marriage.
Like moral beliefs can be, you know, like physical moral beliefs. Like we decided that we wanted to wait until we're married to get the boom boom bada bing bing.
Oh my God.
And like, you know, like I'm over here looking like a caramel macchiato with whipped cream.
God.
And then she's like, oh, I was like, no. Okay, no means no. Keep your distance, social distancing vibes. Another example of moral values or just values in general is someone who values fitness, you know? And not necessarily the fitness itself, but the health factor. Maybe they don't see it as much as an importance as the other person does. That's something that might bring a big obstacle later on as well. I think in our relationship early on, I was a lot heavier. I felt that she was judging me because of my weight. When she wanted me to lose weight, I felt like she was saying, you're ugly, you're fat, you're this, you're that. What she was talking about is she doesn't care how I look. And she said that to me multiple times, but you know, you get in that defense mode. But she was saying is, I don't care about how you look, but I care about you having a long lasting life so that we can share a future together. And if you're not gonna change that about you, then I can't continue to be with you. You know, I want us to be healthy so we enjoy our lives together.
Mind you, I'm not the most healthiest person. I'm not the most fit and healthy person. And not because I'm trying to be shallow and just call you out, but it's more for you. Because if you wanna live a long, healthy life with me, if you see future in me, I would want you to take care of yourself so that you could be able to take care of us and our future family. And that was my perspective. In the beginning, like he said, he was very defensive about it. That was definitely a struggle and that was a red flag.
And we both had to compromise in certain situations with that. But eventually it got down to the point where I started seeing the value of, you know, being a little bit healthier.
Yes. That's actually a really good thing that you said that, because it's not me trying to change you. Because I don't want you to change. I love who you are and your character. I just want you to see my perspective and how it's going to be beneficial for you.
Because I was about almost 300 pounds. She was like 110 pounds. So we looked like a bowling ball and a pin. But she stood with me. And I remember, just a quick side note, this is not relevant, but the day before I proposed, I was really heavy. And I remember like knowing I was gonna be proposing to her. She didn't know I was gonna be proposing. I was like, you know, looking for an outfit. I was like, man, nothing fits. I just feel like this sucks. You know, I felt really down about it. You know, I'm proposing tomorrow, I'm heavy. And I remember her saying like, hey, like, it doesn't matter what you're wearing. I think you're the most handsome man in the world. In that moment, I was so excited that I'm gonna be proposing to this woman tomorrow. Very soon after that was when I started working out.
The next red flag is when you are outgrowing your partner. You are moving faster in your stage of life. It doesn't mean like, oh, that person's stupid, you're growing up and you're more mature. That's not what I mean. A lot of people can relate to this when they are like on their early 20s or like, you know, your college years up to 30. Like you finding your career, finding who you are, your purpose, really digging deep into finding your identity. And I feel like when you're in a relationship between 20 to 30, a lot of things change. Your mind shifts, perspective of things shifts completely, and a lot of changes happen when you're growing. That's definitely something that I've experienced from my past, because I felt like I was growing faster than my partner because I'm already like accepting these opportunities in my life and I'm like flourishing and I know my purpose in life like a lot faster than my partner. And now I feel like I'm getting dragged, you know, I'm getting discouraged, and I want to pull this person to the same stage of my life already, but they don't want to and they choose not to. It's so hard because you want to grow and you want to flourish in life, but then you're like getting pulled back because that person doesn't want to grow up yet, or that person doesn't want to move up yet. You love the person and you want that person to be successful in life. You want that person to have the opportunities and to take the chances that you're taking in life, you know, and you want them to use their gifts, and they don't want to. And you're already over here and they're still over here. It's gonna be a challenge. You shouldn't have to compromise yourself. It's not your obligation. It's not your responsibility to take care of someone else in that way, because now that becomes kind of like your child, and now you're gonna build all this like anger and you're gonna build all this resentment and grudges. Like, why can't that person be like this?
I think it's a very thin line too, because you wanna make sure that the outgrowing portion isn't necessarily like, oh, you know, like all of a sudden I'm doing this and oh, you're not doing it, then I'm dropping that, you know? It's different, and it's a very thin line between what's outgrowing and what's just kind of changing, because we all change within our lives.
Yes, I agree.
I actually experienced that too in high school, and when I was with that person, I felt like they actually outgrew me in the beginning. They have certain goals, and I was just taking the route of, nah, I'm just gonna chill, you know, I don't wanna go to college right now, I'm just gonna work enough to just go out and do things and not really have any direction yet. You know, she was actually like knowing like, oh, I wanna do this, I wanna do that, and I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I actually don't think I realized what I really wanted to do until a lot later, you know, in life.
And you didn't have a partner that understood that.
And I didn't have a partner that understood that,
I think she didn't encourage you because she's also trying to figure out herself. That's so funny that Eli's perspective is the opposite of mine, because it's good to hear from your perspective.
Now the difference is I found a partner who actually does encourage me to find those things that makes me happy, or that I find passionate. Like music is something that I'm 1000% passionate about. She kind of got me reignited into it because I stopped doing it. I'm like, you know, I don't want to do it anymore. I get too focused on doing other things, and I drop the things that actually make me happy.
I think you just get focused on things that is now. Like, you're the kind of person that's like, no, I just want to focus on my job now and my career now because I want to make money. Whereas sometimes when we work on our passion, it takes time, it takes a lot of effort. You don't get the same return back, maybe not financially, but it gives you a different return, which is happiness. Going back to outgrowing someone, in my relationship with you, I don't feel like I outgrew you at all, because I felt like I encouraged you and I said things that would hopefully uplift you to want to pursue your dreams, but you actually took it and you accepted it. Whereas it's different when somebody doesn't want to accept it. You acknowledged it, you lit a flame within it, and now it was lit, you know what I'm saying?
And it was litty.
It was litty. Best times of our life was when you were making amazing music, because you've inspired, you've celebrated, you've enjoyed and lived your best life. And that's the best thing about growing together with someone, is that you encourage each other and you uplift each other, and nobody is outgrowing each other because you're helping each other pursue your passions. Something great comes out of that when that person accepts and acknowledges it.
All right, and the last red flag, flag rojo.
Flag
Last thing that we consider red flag is bringing baggage
to your
from past relationship into your current relationship.
Yes, that's a good one. That's a good one. For sure, for sure.
Tell me on that one.
Or maybe something from your past that created like a traumatic experience, like a negative experience, and you're bringing it to your relationship.
Yeah. So bringing baggage, I think, is a big one, because I kind of did that also in a way, and I'll use one of my examples. Before, with certain friendships and relationships, I would always be talked down on and be like, oh, you shouldn't be like this, you shouldn't be like that, I want you to be like this, or I want you to act this way. I took that into my relationship now with Kezia in the beginning of our relationship, where it was kind of like a little bit insecure about being who I really am, because I was told to not be like that previously. That's why when I first met Kezia, it was like, even on our first date, she's like, wow, you're so quiet, like you're not talking.
Guys, our first couple of weeks of dating was just like so quiet. Like, I'm just like, I just thought he was like this mysterious guy, you know, like quiet and gentleman, reserved. Little did I know.
Yeah, I was really quiet. It's because before I was told like, stop being so chatty, stop being so jokey, you know what I mean? And I didn't like that, because, you know, that's who I was. I always like being jokey. I always like making people laugh. And that's what helped me get through such situations in life, is being like that. I put on a, you know, different persona for that individual, was not healthy, and then I brought that into my new relationship. She allowed me to just be who I am, and she was like cool about it, and I was like,
I think you started to show who you are, like slowly but surely, but you were like trying to play it safe because you're like fearful that I might not like who you are. In reality, I actually wanted a funny guy, you know? Somebody like my dad. I wanted to find somebody who's gonna give me joy in my life. So when you came in my life during the times that we were dating, then when you slowly started showing your character, I actually absolutely love that, because I felt like that's what I needed, you know? One of my baggage was that I had really terrible trust issues, you know, from my past experience and relationships and friendship. I brought that in our relationship in a way where every time we had arguments, every time we have like a big hurdle, like I am just so easy to quit. Like, I'm like, you know what? I don't want this relationship. Like, I'm like, oh, let's break up. I just rather call it quits than having to go through the hurt and the pain, because I've been through so much pain in my past. I feel like I don't want that same pain. So I'm easily to let go and not fight for it, because I have trust issues. And that was the baggage I brought in our relationship, I think the first 2 years of our relationship.
That's a big one. And I had to realize how to kind of work with that and really understand her, because she was so quick to just be like, oh, forget it, it's done. I think for her, it was more just the words, and she needed to just process. For me, who's not experienced that, I'd be like, oh no, like she broke up with me, like no. Then the next morning, she'd be like, hey, good morning, honey. I'd be like, what the hell? It just took me some learning, also letting her know, and eventually she was able to let go of that baggage and understand from my point of view.
And also it takes a different person, a partner, to actually prove to me and help me build that trust, proving to me that this is the man that's gonna stay no matter what. Yes, a lot of it has to do with me letting go, with a lot of prayer, really adjusting, but it also has a lot to do with Eli taking in that part of really building and rebuilding my trust in him and really showing me that he's a different man.
That's deep.
That was deep.
All right, guys, so I hope that this video has helped you guys try to realize some of the red flags that you could look out for. Relationships are always a constant learning and changing. Be willing to always learn and change so that your relationship will be healthier and succeed in the end.
This video is not intended for you to get information so that you can break up with your partner. I don't want you guys to like...
be like, hey, Eli said number 3. This is you, bro. This is you. Number 3.
These are just some of our opinions of red flags, so that hopefully it's something that you or your partner can work on. The point of creating this YouTube channel is to show you guys transparency and to be authentic to you guys, because we all want to be in a healthy relationship that's going to make us be a better person for each other and for your future.
I am DJ Thick. This is Mrs. Thick. Together we are the Thicks.
Why you do that though? Say yeah, in my city, that's the way things go. Deeply rooted, never change it, gotta move like clothes. Say my name in the spot, I be way too low.